super great. I've emptied my mirror, and so right here on this exact position that I'm sitting in is a transmission, is energy coming in from all directions, moving through me, and I'm able to pick it up through the antenna that is my being, through these funny positionings I'm holding, the way I hold my hand, the way I hold my arm, the way I hold my body. It picks up energy in another way. You'll see that when I begin showing you the energy teachings, the way that I bring through the light language, the channel of breath, and all of those things, they're the same as what I'm doing right now. So if you're able to see the movements in the teachings, you'll know that during the movements, I'm actually doing the same thing that's happening right here in this current place. That's why my eyes move around a bunch and do funny things. My eyes aren't really looking at anything. They're kind of just moving to positionings that catch energy in a certain way and don't keep me focusing on a certain thing to create an observance. As if I observe something like the flower before me, which that flower I'm observing now was meant to be observed by me, just me telling myself this actually, because I'm learning a lot through my observance of the channel and the getting out of the way of the channel moving through. Which is funny too, because then you could say, well, aren't you the thing channeling? It's like, well, yeah, I mean, I am the moment itself, and so everything is the moment itself, and as I get out of my own way, meaning I just allow myself to truly be without having to control me in any way, and then just observe the occurrence that is me, the simultaneous movement of me with everything, the harmonious way in which I unite with all beings and all frequencies in a really amazing grace, that we move together in this phenomenal synchronicity, this phenomenal unity. And so, yeah, when I talk about the flower at this time, it's because the flower was meant to be seen by me at that time, to be talked about. But you see, sometimes I can look at something like a tree and I can start talking about that in a way that's not extremely centered with the channel. Now, granted, you can imagine that when I said tree just now, it was because I was, well, looking at a tree. I would have said whatever it was that I was looking at, but the moment would have brought my eyes to look at it for me to center upon it. And so the reason I stuck with those things longer, and I looked at them for pretty much the entire duration of the speaking of them, was just simply that's what the moment was having me doing, and the looking at it was the particular place and focus that made easiest it to remain the dialogue that was necessary. And as soon as it switches, and the switch is necessary, something else is brought into visionary quality that would bring centering of focus, kind of like we were talking about with the toe practice, that the forefront feeling comes about. And so I just follow the forefront feelings, whichever one's the most feeling. I follow that one, but I continue in the direction of my original motion. And this is where now we're syncing the toe practice with the light language and the motion, and what's happening here currently with the eye movement and the speaking movement, the hand motion, the entire motion of the body. Why it's kind of necessary and very helpful for me to have a PA, a personal assistant, or a friend, a guide, a person who's here in symbiosis that genuinely wishes to be here and doesn't have to be paid to be here or coerced in some way to be here, but somebody that is gaining something from this, as I am, and so we're in symbiosis, we're in equanimity, and if we're not in that, then I would wish for somebody who is in equanimity with me, because I am not a person that has the ability to pay anybody or anything like that. You see, I live on the streets, I have a backpack, and I'm myself not getting paid in that way, but I am getting paid in a huge way. There's a ton of wisdom coming all the time, and it's helping me center and liberate all of consciousness. And so this is the greatest of treasures, the greatest of gifts, and if anything that is around me wishes to have some monetary value over this, then they're not really in the realm of focus, which will be in symbiosis with what it is that I am currently doing, or what I have been doing for many years. So for a long time I was seeing that to be the only way, but as it turns out, there are beings that are in direct reflection and alignment with what it is that I am currently doing within my journey, as I am. And so when I stopped looking for the things to help me that weren't in alignment with my journey, then they stopped showing up. And I started to get things in alignment that were in my journey. And so I just simply had to know myself, be specific with myself, and know the only way it would work, and continue on with myself and trust with myself, able to do it with myself, even though it was a little more difficult doing it, in the way in which I had to be self-sustained and sovereign. But I would not, relinquish my love for myself for any kind of suppression of myself. I would not benefit myself through the harm of myself. I would not harm myself in order to help myself. This was a really beautiful thing. This is a phenomenal chord shape to actually finally understand fully, because I could just like jump into that conceptually, but that would be for the need or a want. That would be to force something into coming of my reality, and not really from a place of true understanding, growth, and equanimity, that we would come into the place of security within ourselves, the true place of knowing that you really don't need it, and that you're really not looking for it, and you're really not wanting it. You're not creating something to create something else. I'm not going into this saying, hey, I understand this in order to get this reward. It's like, no, 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 no. Now, understanding this may bring upon itself a reward, but it doesn't really matter, that reward. It's simply I understand something new. And so as I came into greater articulation of my reality and what it was that I wanted and what it was that truly sunk with me authentically, that's when things could come to me actually as I actually wanted them. But I wasn't desiring them, because as it turned out, I already had them. I am that for myself. And so that's all it really was, okay, I'm not going to do something that I don't do to get something that I want, like do something for myself that I don't do. Like, I won't go against me in some manner. And so, maybe I thought I had to work, or maybe I thought I had to do this, but I'm already working, you see. I'm already doing amazing things. I'm already sitting here in trust doing so many phenomenal chord shapes and for all of consciousness. And I am not an illusion just because somebody else may think that I'm not doing what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. Here I am, super amazingly simultaneously occurring with the whole of consciousness. And consciousness is seeing this, and so there were things in which I were thinking, okay, maybe I'll do this, I'll gain this in order to get this, and then for this amount of time I can do this, and then I can do that, and remain in a divided manner within myself. I know that this has been kind of scratchy or achy or generalized. It was interesting to me that it wasn't so amazingly articulated specifically, but as I talk about it being more general, I see that kind of like a chef at a restaurant who doesn't put salt on the food. Surely the chef likes salt, but not everybody likes salt, you see, so he has to go for a more general public. He gives you salt on your table. You can add your salt to your liking. And so that's kind of like this right now. You can add your salt to your liking, but we're going to speak a little bit more generally so that we can catch more of a bigger crowd, perhaps. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe that's not what's happening. I'm just observing the flow. And as I observe the flow, certain articulations of my observance, because I say, that's odd, or I say, this, brings up another contextual chord shape, which routes us in another way. Before, I used to like jump away from these types of observances, trying to hold on to the previous center line. But now I allowed them to come in, knowing that actually they're exactly what was necessary, and there's no reason for me to fight myself and create some kind of strange dissonance. That everywhere in which it goes is the place in which it wishes to go, because there's an authentic viewer or observer or something that needs to hear this. Now, this observer, I am sure, I can't imagine who it would be that would be so amazingly aware in their line, in the synchronicity of their appearances, to be able to understand what it is I'm saying, because it seems to me so scratchy and all over the place. But whoever it is out there that has that amount of amazing awareness, thank you for your being. It may just be me. I mean, it's possible that every one of these videos and movies is just to bring me to a place in centering, that I never do this again, or whatever it is. It just, who cares, Actually, I feel like this is of a extreme benefit. Every time I watch one of them, I just feel so benefited that I gotta imagine that all of self is benefited. So that makes me very happy. And I love that I'm sitting here, like, wishing to smoke this whole time. I'm like, I want to take a drink of my I want to take a drink of my smoke. It's like, it actually, like, for some reason, like, puts me in this weird, crazy moving point of being completely presently now currently in the motion of everything. So it's kind of funny. It's like when I want to smoke, I kind of don't. I just channel constantly, and I just kind of look at it like I'm about to do this thing. Here it comes. It's a fun, weird tension, suppression, resistance point that creates a giant oscillation in energy that seems to pump me up, actually. So, like, every time I seem to, like, step out of the center, like, of expression, I start to, like, super express, and then it brings me right back into expression zone. Boom, boom, bang. I can't tell if it's unnecessary or necessary. I really have to assume that everything that occurs is completely necessary, even the thoughts that don't get to the forefront, that don't get expressed here physically. Even those peripheries were extremely necessary for the centering of focusing that was bringing in whatever authentic expression was here within the now moment. And even though these intangibles, like thought, seem to be intangible, they are quite tangible. They are vibrations, frequencies, energies. They're just more subtle, and so we don't see them to be extremely necessary, or we don't see them to be of a high potency to where we call them something that's here actually. But they are here actually, just like Jesus had said, that the thought is actually the action, and so that can lead you into a form of judgment of, oh no, I thought about fucking that girl, I thought about rape, I thought about murder, I thought about these terrible things, I'm an evil sinner. No, 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 you're picking up a lot of antenna. You're picking up a lot of energy. You're picking up a lot of things coming through the center of your focal point that's giving to you to work through it. Work through. You're the one in the positioning that has the best capability of transmuting that energy. So the quicker you can come into a template of understanding that's actual and true, that can help you logically route through those particular chord shapes and understandings, the faster we're going to be able to bring the healing and the transmutations to those energies that have movement through your centering of being. Now, at any time, a being can come up to you and transmute all those energies and heal it for you, and you'll have no idea what has happened. But then, at any time you come into the positioning to move that energy through yourself again, the same context will replay itself, and you will be unable to do this again for yourself, and so you have to go to another person who's able to be a greater conductor than you are, move it through themselves. And so this is happening all the time when we're going and we're paying somebody $300 to do an energetic cleansing on us, and they never teach us how to do the cleansing on ourselves. Why don't they do this? Well, just like a guy building your house, he used to build your house to last 100 years, and then he didn't have any work for a long time, and he thought to himself, oh shit, this was really dumb. I built everybody's house really well, and now I have to move to another place to build somebody else's house, because I will die before I have to fix one of their houses because I built it so damn good. That's not very good for me because I still need money to feed my family and whatever else desire I may have that money, satisfies. So maybe this time I'll build a house that's going to break down, periodically. I'll build these to break down in this many years, and I'll build these to break down in this many years, and I'll build those to break down in this many years. That way, when that breaks down, I'll come in and fix it. But they'll be very satisfied with my job, as they won't have to call me again to repair something right away, like on your car, something that really pisses you off that the mechanic has done this. Even though the mechanic never built your car, it's not his fault. So, now you have to go to him every 5 years for this, every 3 years for that, every 2 years for that, every 1 year for that, every 3 months for that. This guy has a wonderful business, not only for himself, but for his family and all the people that love him. And that's wonderful. That builds him a great status. He's the tree grower of all the community beneath him. Oh, what a great elder man. Everybody come to him for advice and wisdom. But, he could have been teaching everybody this constantly. He could have been building quality stuff. Right now, we have consumerism. That seems to be an issue. People don't want to buy things anymore. They're like, screw this. Why do I want this? People are going against the cutting edge of technology. I'm not against the cutting edge technology. I'm just wondering why we have so many not cutting edge technologies existing beside the cutting edge technology. Because as it turns out, if we have everybody using the most efficient quality item, well, then everybody would be doing really super awesomely, amazingly, phenomenally, amazingly in equanimity. We would just have the greatest stuff all the time. If we could just make something that was the best and just keep making the best and making a quality product that never breaks, then we don't need millions and millions and millions of plastic items that are going to waste. Why do I have wasteful things? Well, because why did you make 100 smiley face shirts for every one person on the planet? No, I'm not going to wear 100 smiley face shirts in my lifetime. I'm not. I'm going to wear maybe 10 smiley face shirts. So why make 100 of them for me? That makes no sense. In fact, I don't even like that smiley face shirt or that smiley face shirt. I like that one that's warm and feels good. That is a generic shirt. I'm looking for something satin. I want something, I don't know what satin's made out of or if that even makes sense to mass produce. But I'm looking for something that feels good and is efficient. Really, right now, I have a backpack on. Let me tell you about my simplicity, all right? Talk about me personally. I want a bag that's waterproof. That's what I want. I want a bag that lasts forever, that carries all my things, has easy accessibility to all the different places in which I may keep my items in the organized manner in which I wish to. And I wish it to last, durability. How long is this thing going to last? 100 years. That's what I'm looking for. Why do I want it to last 100 years? I don't know. I would want it to last a million years. We could pass it down to the next generation, the next generation. Now, everybody wants something new. That's fine. Luckily, China saw that even a broken pot is more beautiful once it's created to be new. So the vintage older pots are somehow better because you melted them. Maybe that could be seen as backpacks. But I do like new things myself, so maybe it could break down in 100 years in a way that's really good for everything. I don't know. Anyways, we can come to a place in scientific efficiency with that later. But I want it to be waterproof. I want none of my items to be broken inside of it. You know how many backpacks I can get right now that will rip and tear the strap of their backpack within the first maybe couple months of me carrying my things within it? Why have we ever made a backpack that would do that after we could make a backpack of the efficiency of my Kelty? If we can make a backpack that's this nice, why do we ever make a backpack not this nice? It does not make sense. Why would you? Why? Why? This backpack costs a certain amount of money to us, the consumer. It costs a certain amount of money to the manufacturer, much less. This backpack probably costs less than it costs to buy a new of the crappy backpacks than it does to buy it straight from the manufacturer of the backpack after the machinery and everything's been made. Now it's like nothing but profit. Nothing but profit. Is somebody hand sewing this backpack? I understand everybody wants grandma hand sewing their fucking backpacks forever. Have you ever sewn a backpack yourself, Mr. I just want it handmade? Oh, you were such a dick, Mr. I want it handmade. You know how long somebody has to fucking hand make that shit? It takes a long time. And sure, yeah, it's nice, okay. Mine was handmade. Well, alright, but we could make a machine that would, like, super make it and way greater than what a hand maker can make it. When it comes to, like, durability and efficiency, we can make glass 10 times the strength of steel, guys. I mean, who's doing that with their hands? Like, you gotta have some kind of tool, some kind of function going on. Like, what were we going to do when we only had hands before we even made a stone tool? A stone hammer. Like, what are you guys thinking? Like, you wouldn't even want a stone hammer? Like, what are you thinking? I mean, how are you going to break open a coconut? Anyways, doesn't matter. You're just going to lift stones all day and be the giant Hawaiian Samoan man that can just rip off the husk with his hands. I mean, I guess we could all try to be that way. I mean, it just seems like a lot of work, We could also just make machinery that tend the field for us. What do you guys want? You guys seriously want grandma out there picking fucking cotton, picking fucking blueberries and shit, cutting their fucking fingers on the thorns? Like, what are you thinking? I mean, I don't know if blueberries have thorns, but I'm just mean on plants, it's ridiculous. What are you out in the hot sun 10 hours a day for 40 years of their life? Come on, man. Can't we just all sit on the damn, lake or something, chilling out, drinking a soda or whatever it is you guys like to drink and relax? What are we doing, having everybody slave away forever? It makes no freaking sense at all. It just, for what, consumerism? Like, can you please make me another car part that will sit in a junkyard for the rest of the freaking world? Like, Jesus Christ. That car is going to be obsolete in 3 years. Why? Because it broke down in 3 years. Because we didn't make it to last. Oh. Why didn't we make it to last? Because we like junk. I don't know. We like people working and being the cogs in the system, being busy. They're bored or something. I don't know. They have to have something to do. And that must be it, really. And if you have to have something to do, if you're so bored as to put yourself into some crazy, insane slavery, then awesome. Do that. But don't be mad that somebody else is not. It's ridiculous. Or do be mad. Really, just do whatever you want. But it's just crazy to me. It's just like, oh my goodness, If you are being bad, it's completely perfect. So do whatever you want. Anyways, it would be good for us to, create things that made sense. I like nice things. So yeah, a sleeping bag that was so warm but had vents that it would be good in any weather, in waterproof and stuff like that. That's awesome, and maybe like inflated somehow so that you had like a air mattress quality out of nowhere all the time. You're like, oh, soft and comfy, so sweet. Super lightweight, so you're not breaking your back everywhere you bring it. Maybe it is a backpack. Maybe it is the backpack, and I would say that would be efficient if only it like sucked all of your stuff into like proper position every time. But yeah, to unpack it and then repack it, that would not be fun, Obviously, there's ways to do even greater efficiencies than have to walk around with your damn backpack everywhere you go, but I do like the backpack and everything. We're getting more efficient. But yeah, we just have all of these things just make no sense, you know. But it's good to see that. It's good to see that. You know, it's wonderful that we have all these things, these lack of efficiencies, because there are people that will see these lacks of efficiency and strive for efficiency. They will not be liking this lack of efficiency. Like, what are you doing? Grandma, do you mind spending the next 20 hours knitting me a sweater with your arthritis? Please, Grandma. Please knit it for me. Well, yeah, but the machine could do it better. The machine could even make it waterproof. No seams at all. Yeah, no, Ma. I need you to do it. I want Grandma's touch. What happened to Grandma? She died sewing my sweater. Why? It was too much work. Work on her heart. You're like, oh my God, what? Are you serious? No, I'm just kidding, but it was a serious joke, wasn't it? It was all fucked up. Let Grandma sit down and eat some cookies. Somebody else knit her a sweater or something. Maybe she does like knitting. I'm not saying you can't knit, you know, do whatever you want. But we could be doing things in a greater realm of efficiency, you know. Building things that last, giving things that last. Everybody could just have the most best stuff. We could all have personal helicopters or something. I'm not saying that this would be efficient for life. We have to understand that not everybody is a very responsible person in the world, but and perhaps that's what it comes down to. The reason that, you know, consciousness isn't reflecting that kind of a symbiosis is because not everybody can deal with certain things quite yet, you know. Like if you were to find yourself in a place of great power when it comes to consciousness, if you were to find yourself in a place of being able to exude the entirety of your frequency at any moment, right now, currently, that could be really cool. You know, that could feel really good. That could be really awesome. But also, you know, it's like, if you have the potential power of the entirety of all that is to start affecting things in a fucked up way, you may do that, you know. So it's kind of nice to give you kind of like an inhibitor chip, a limitation in a way. Sure, we're limitless, but you may be limiting yourself for a great amount of wonderful purposes. You know, Joe Blow over there that hates 50% of himself, when he understood limitless potential, he would destroy half of himself. Well, you see, that other half of himself had equal right and potential to move and grow, and so that wasn't very kind and compassionate to the other 50% of himself, which had, you know, really equal right to be here as he did. He thought he was God, but turns out they were all equally the same as that, and so, you know, we're not going to really let you destroy us like that, you know. We're going to all have to work in a symbiosis and a harmony before we give everybody the great amazing blessing is using the entirety of their frequency to harm or help whatever it is they may be seeing. They may eventually see that even wanting to help something could be perceived as harming something if it's to control or manipulate it away from the point and focus in which it is already perfect. So as we stop moving in a way of fight against what seems to be imperfection, we can come into the reflection of what is already perfection into a place in genuinity that will bring us to a natural place of expressing authentically and in a way of non-duality, moving with the wisdom of non-action, no attack and no defense, the most amazing wisdom in the Tao, really. And I say that as if you could actually compare something to be greater or lesser, but really all of it is existing in equanimity, and it's a wonderful literality that I wonderfully believe that everything should maybe or could maybe be benefited by reading, such as simplicity to the actual literal teaching of what is happening here within the law of reality, law of duality, or the law of non-duality, however it is we wish to contextually chord shape this thing that can only be pointed at through paradox, as what is said through the Tao. What an amazing, phenomenal thing to point at a place that is not through what is, and was essentially not, as it is that which is not. Paradoxing itself in the most amazing way. Can you see the in-between space, in between those two sentences, in between the left and the right, the male and the female, the yin and the yang? What is that line, that curvature, that thing that connects and binds and is the in-between, the non-separate positioning that shows it that it is itself completely, wholly, and efficiently, amazingly, completely, in every way Oh, this is wonderful coffee. Oh, so good. Finally figured out the drip coffee maker. She bought a coffee maker from Goodwill, the most ancient of all coffee makers. They used it in The Wizard of Oz to oil the Tin Man. And, it comes with a little colander type deal. It's like a little filter thing that's just has no choice but to at least allow some powdery, grainy texture to come through it, apparently.